Okay. All right. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back. This is Sentient Cloud. Starting the stream a bit early today because there's a project that I wanted to work on. And I was actually really excited to work on it, and I've been working on it previously, and so I thought, might as well go ahead and start streaming it. Um, I may not go more than an hour, even still, but we'll see. I haven't really decided yet. Okay, so real quick, an explanation. I've been kind of looking into working on a game, right? Writing a game and starting like from scratch in C++ and using, graphics libraries and things like that to make a game. Now, that sounds great until I realized that would mean I would have to create a new C++ project. Now, I've done this before, right? Usually I'll just copy over a makefile from my most recent project and, just get started there. I'll copy over all of kind of my standard project things like, my testing header and some other things like that. And that works. It does work. The problem is I'm tired of it. I'm tired of having to copy things over. I'm tired of having to rely on make and its eccentricities. And I am tired of like having to do all that. So I'm going to make a build system that sort of behaves similarly to something like Cargo, except I can't really, do the stuff with libraries that Cargo can do because Cargo has access to the Rust repository. But I can at the very least make it so it will build things automatically, and maybe figure out some stuff with linking libraries later. We'll see. Not totally sure how that's going to work out. But in any case, and I want it to be able to do things like check if, a file that I'm going to be compiling has been updated, or if one of its dependencies has been updated, and then recompile with that in mind. So with all that said, let's get started. I've already got the build folder set up, and I actually already have some work done. I do need to go ahead and remove both of these, because both of these are not needed. I had started working on this, and then I kind of realized later that I don't actually need it. Hold up. All right, sorry about that. Had some stuff going on. Okay, so I'll just really quickly, ignore this. Again, I had started working on this previously, and so I kind of, had an idea of how I wanted to do it. Basically, I would have a project file that would have all the stuff listed. And then I started thinking, oh, maybe I'll do a JSON file, because initially it was going to be a TOML file, but that seemed to, it didn't seem sufficient, I guess. I don't know. I think a TOML file would probably work, but I may not even need it because I'm going with a slightly different route. We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, so right now I'm just going through and making sure that I can detect and create object files. So if I go ahead and run this, and I think it's that. That's going to compile it, and then, right, need to provide it with arguments. I need to figure out the kind of standard format for this sort of message, because I think typically they'll do something like usage and then colon and then explaining how you use it. Let's go and do build. Not sure why it's printing that, but you can see it's taken the, hold on. Ooh, that should not print the whole path. Okay, we'll fix that. But if I do source, we have the main.cpp file. So this is basically what I want. Okay. Let's go back and get back to work on this. Okay. If argc, let's go ahead and c is less. So why would that print that? That's very confusing. It doesn't need to. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm actually going to go to the top, define, let's see, I'm including string, so let's go ahead and do string source steer. Huh, I wonder why that is. Just call it src. And that way I can just do this. Yeah, okay, we'll do it that way. At that later. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to collapse this because this is definitely not going to be how it's going to be done. Yeah. Let's get rid of that. That's a lot of stuff that I was thinking about doing, but then later realized that's just not how I want to do it. Okay. These can go now. In fact, yeah, we'll just get rid of all this. Leave this here because I do need. I want to make sure that I remember exactly how I'm doing this. So let's go ahead and comment that out. Okay. So we've got this now. Let's get relative. Let's see. Hang on. This should be object path. It's not an entry. And okay, now I need to go ahead and make a new file. Or I guess check if this one exists. So let's get, how do you get the directory entry from a path? Okay, so let's see. Okay. Let's see. Let's see, how do you check if a given path is actually has a file? Okay. File system. So I guess maybe something like is file. Hold on. Smaller. Okay. Got a bunch here. Okay, yeah, so that checks if it's a file. So is regular file. If that's a regular file, then check the I guess we get the directory entry for it, and then so entry equals entry. If let's see, entry dot last write time is greater than time. We'll just go ahead and we'll start by printing okay, so that's empty. All right, hold on. Let's go back. Here. Okay, so if it's not a regular file, then it definitely needs to request a compile. So please compile that. And you know what? Let's do it like this. Bin. Cool. Please compile it. Awesome. Okay. I do want to go ahead and actually make a minor change. Just do that. Is that going to work? Only one way to find out. Okay, cool. So it does seem to work. All right. Next up, let's actually run a compile command. Okay. System, and then I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to hard code this. I'll make sure to make this a little bit more modifiable later, because I could easily see myself picking a different compiler or a different version of whatever language I'm working with. In this case, I'll probably just focus on C. Okay. Oh, you know what? Hold on. need to test this later, but tree extension. Why is it not happy? Oh, right. There we go. Okay. I'll just go ahead and put extra. I've decided that pedantic may not be the best idea because it apparently excludes extension features, and I don't know if I necessarily want to do that. So we'll leave that as is. Let's go ahead and see, so need to do match O. C string. And dear entry. Okay, so I can't do it quite like that. I'm just gonna have to do system. Yeah, C string. Okay. Okay. I think we have to do then is something like this. Do I do this all like in succession? That seems really lame. Oh, actually, you know what I can do? Hold on. Completely forgot about this. Then I always forget that format is a thing that exists. And no, I'm not going to keep changing it. We'll make this a little bit less obtuse. And okay, let's go ahead and get rid of this. Just copy that down. Okay. Let's check what's in. Okay, so it didn't actually compile anything. Oh wait, I know why. Hold up, because do I need? I think I might have correctly. Hold on. I need to make sure to include the dots or -C command. That's probably at least part of the reason why that's not working. Okay. Is there anything in test project that? Okay, I'm just going to remove that. Okay. Why is that not? Let's just open up. Okay, so it's not anywhere to be found. Is it failing to compile? It should notify me of that. Hold on. Let's make sure and actually check return value. So if it does not equal 0, that means something's gone wrong. I need to know what. Okay, so nothing apparently went wrong. Why is it not producing? We'll get rid of that for now. It should be different. Should be calling compile objects. Is it not producing? Oh wait, I think I know what it might be. That might be what's going on. Okay, that's not what's going on. Okay. I need to know everything that's happening here. So. Okay. Why is that failing to do anything? should call compile objects. If entry is a regular file and I did this, maybe that's the problem. Maybe it does not like that. Is that the issue? Yeah, source path. Okay. So can't find particular okay. Converts path to relative form. Hold on. Hold on. Let's see. Okay. So it seems like I have to do this. Dear. That's a little sketchy. Why is it not happy? What's going on here? Oh, okay, so that converts it. That's not quite what I want. Jeez. Trace path relative to root path that has path name composed of drag component of this target. Okay. Okay, what is the root path? Okay, can you subtract? Hold on. Okay, well, there is one way to do this. Is this with now? Oh, wait a minute. Does file name return string? Okay, no, it returns path. Okay. I clearly have hit upon content gold here because I'm having way more viewers than normal. Okay. What was? I guess let's do this. I'm still not happy. What's wrong? Oh, right, because I commented those out. Derp. Okay. And then wrap this in path. Sure, I'll figure out a better way to do this in the future, but for now, let's do this, and then place extension, that's fine. Okay. Okay, so go here. Actually, I don't need to do this. It can remain a string, and that will be fine. Okay. That. Okay. Ah. Let's go ahead and put these in front. Yes. Okay. Getting somewhere. All right. Now. Okay. Cool. Cool. Okay. So let's back up and let's see what's next. So let's try modifying it. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm just gonna get rid of this for the moment. So recompile. This will just say compile. We'll make sure that okay. Now let's go ahead and run build. Oh wait, I gotta. I'm not quite to the point where it can bootstrap. But okay. Um, okay, hold on. Let's just go in here real quick. Um, bleh. Just put that in there right now. Okay. Now it should build. Okay, yeah, so it does recompile. Okay. Now I need to get it to the point where it'll build. Let's do this. Okay, so now I need to compile project. So that is where it's going to take all of the build files. And, oh, actually, I also need to get build dependency files, which is something that basically just lists all of the include files that, you know, all the headers and things that you're including and a couple other things. So let's see if we can get that. Okay. Okay, so I do something like this. It looks like I should be able to, and it should make the things happen. Okay. Okay. Huh, that's a bit much. Okay. That's annoying. I don't need all this. Why would you do this? Um well, I suppose is there a way to filter this effectively? Hold on. Dependency file or local dependencies. Auto dependencies. That's not what I'm looking for quite. Hmm. Okay. Okay, what does dash -mm do? Okay. One way to find out, I suppose. Just test it. Okay. Remove build. Okay. And then build. There we go. Okay, that makes things much easier. Okay, that's perfect. So, all right. And if because it appears that that limits it to only the local headers. Let's go ahead and um, see. HPP. And I don't have to worry about header guards. This thing's not going to stick around. Um, we'll define there. Completely pointless. Not going to matter. I just need to have it there and include it. Okay. Now go here. Include. Okay. And if I hit that. Yes. Okay. Okay, we're in business. All right. Let's get back to. Okay. So get rid of this. Sorry, I always forget net RW keybinds. Okay. Rid of those. Okay. Jeez, this is going to be the most viewed stream in my time doing streaming. Okay. I guess I've hit upon a bit of a sore spot for C developer or C++ developers. Okay. All right. I don't think I'm. Am I actually? I don't think I'm actually using this. So I do need that stuff. So I'm building a build system for C++ because I kept having to fight with make in order to get it to do things, and then I'd have to copy my make files around, and I just decided I wanted to avoid all of that, and so I'm making a project build system. So, okay. Now, let's see. Regular file, then guess I also would have to go through and check all the dependencies as well. That's the entire point of making those dependency files. Okay. Well, thank you. Yeah, it was a problem that annoyed me to the point where I was just decided that it was worth it to actually take some time and make something that would fix the problem, which seems to me the best reason to do something software related. So, okay. Okay, so that gets me the that's going to compile all the object files. But let's see. Else if I need to go through and I guess else, and then let's check dependencies. Because let's go back to the top. See, it's a little bit. Okay. Checking dependencies is going to be slower. It's not that big a deal. Okay, so I'm going to make that function now. That's going to need to take an argument. Say take. No, can't take constant. Do file name. There we go. All right. Just going to shorten this. Yeah. What do I recommend in terms of like resources to learn C? Or like in that case, so for me, I'll talk about what I did. So I also ended up taking C++ in school, but after that, and honestly, the stuff that was most helpful was there are videos. So, like for example, if you've ever seen a YouTube channel called The Cherno, he does a pretty good job talking about the kinds of stuff that I'm interested in because I find like game programming, graphical related stuff to be most interesting personally. Another good one is a guy called Jacob Sorber. Especially if you're interested in C specifically rather than C and C++, he's pretty good. And apart from that, having a bookmark to let's see, this is CPP reference or some other C documentation site because I definitely use that quite a bit. And apart from that, just find a project that you find interesting and start working on it. Like for me, I've got a lot of videos on this channel talking about building text editors because that's something I find interesting. I did like one video on developing or trying to develop a game, and I haven't really revisited that in any videos, but I do plan to start doing that again soon. So I don't know. I mean, I just find a project that I find interesting personally, and then I start working on it. In this case, this one again was more just because it was kind of a necessity. It was annoying enough that I decided to do it, but otherwise, I just try and find projects that I find personally interesting and then go from there. So, hope that helps. Okay, let's copy that down here. Do that twice. And then return 1. I could have made that a Boolean. That doesn't matter. Okay. Here. And this needs a file name. Okay. Okay, cool. So it's going to be copied. File name dot. What is it? Is it replace extension? Yeah, replace extension. And we want the So now I need to read that. Well, thank you. Let's see. What is, I forget what I think it's Tokyo Night, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. I set this up like a very short time ago and then just quickly forgot about it because I had other things going on. Um, but yeah. Before f open, then find C string. I'm pretty sure I can rely on this existing, so I'm not gonna freak out about it. Whether it's a probably should check just to be sure. Yeah, yeah. I don't actually think I've really used Vim apart from like when I first let's see. No, I don't think I think the only time I've used it is when I'm doing a configuration for like a Linux system where I don't have a what you call it, a desktop environment or a window manager. And even then, I think I pretty much immediately will go and install NeoVim because it's just what I'm more familiar with, and I like Lua more than VimScript. Okay, so if that is null, then we want to return 0 because something went wrong. Ooh, actually, Now, if deps doesn't exist, then no, we should return 1. Yeah, it's more extensible, and I haven't done any kind of comparisons um, in terms of like, performance. I know that it is more recent. Okay. Um, yeah, I mean, I've heard decent things about Rust, and apart from the sort of um, rewrite it in Rust crowd, which I'm personally not particularly fond of, but as far as the language goes itself, I think it's perfectly fine. So I would definitely say, if it's more popular in your area, like in your field, then that's certainly a good reason to learn it. Um, for me, C and C++ are something that I kind of grew up on, so I obviously prefer them more. But yeah, um, yeah. So you a wow wow. I'm not sure how you say that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is exactly it. Um, and it's a shame because it's an interesting language with some interesting features, and then it sort of gets tarnished by people who are a little too culty. Um, but yeah, so to answer your previous question, this build system is for my specific kind of project because I have like a very particular way that I put together a project, right? I'll have the source folder, the build folder, the bin folder, and things like that. And that might change if I'm making a library or something. But like I've got a specific way that I like to build things. And the problem is, in my experience, make just really isn't um like if I want to use make, I have to create a make file, and really more often than not I have to copy that. So I go to one of my other projects and I'll just copy over a make file, and then I've got some headers that I use for testing in C and C++, and so I'll copy those over, and by the time I'm done, I've done way more work than I would like to, and so I'm going to make this do all the work for me. Yeah, I will push back a bit because there are some languages that I think are just bad, right? Like, and so I'll say it this way: some are intentionally bad, right? Like nobody in their right mind is going to use brainfuck for um, anything valuable. It's purely there as a novelty, which is fine. It's good in that sense that it screws with people, I guess. But um, yeah, yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna get back to this. So yeah, so if we don't have the dependencies, which we really should, but if we don't, then it will automatically try and recompile them. Actually, let's return 0. So, right. Okay, yeah, sorry, I missed the generally. My bad. Yeah, no, totally agree with you. Okay, so that's there. What's the format? It's like, let's do this. Okay, so, all right, so we read the file. Um, okay. Okay, hold on. This might actually be a better idea. Hold on. So, do it this way. Hmm. I think I tried Fortran like once and like never used it because it's not really the language that fits into my realm of interest. Like I've never seen a game written in Fortran. I'm sure there are some, none that I've heard of. So, you know, there's really not a whole lot of games that are written in it, and there aren't a lot of applications. Like I'm personally a big fan of programming text editors, and once again, not a whole lot of text editors written in Fortran. So yeah, it doesn't really fit to my area of interest. Okay, so okay, so skip the first part. That's going to buffer, and I don't know what the realistic max size of this is going to be. Start there. Okay. Oh. Do. Can you get sizes from directory entries? You can. Well, yay. Okay. Can you open? No. Okay, that's fine. All right. So need. I guess. There we go. Okay. Cool. 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 Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I haven't really looked into the nuclear industry and what they do. I know that was it Ada, I think, is somewhat popular in the military. I think that's correct. I could be. Hold on. Hold on. I think that's. Uh, okay, yeah. So it apparently was mandated. I didn't know that. Um, okay. I know mainframes are popular in COBOL. I didn't know that. Like I imagine like mission critical software for like what's it called? Like aeronautics and things like that are written in. Well, I've heard that they use like a very restricted form of C++ or C. I could be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure that's what I heard. Um, anyway, let's see. Da, da, da. Mm-mm. Yeah, that's what it says there. Let's go ahead. Okay. I think that's going to do an exception if it fails, which at this point, if it triggers an exception because it's not allocating memory, then, well, got bigger problems. Okay, so do size and okay. Let's just make sure the size is the correct size. Should work fine, but I do believe. Hmm. Yeah, I don't typically worry much about them. I was doing oh, what was it? What's it called? Some stuff on HackerRank, and um realized fairly quickly that, oh right, C has exceptions that you have to actually care about, or C++ has exceptions that they want you to care about. I'm personally far more um, idiomatically I prefer C over C++, but I do occasionally have to deal with how C++ does things, which is a bit annoying. Okay, so let's go. Let's do this. Times that. Oh, it's already been an hour. Okay. Distance size. So I think I could just rely on the fact that the colon is going to be there. So in that case, mm, Okay, so I need um other stuff like in as in like what do I do for work or like in my free time? Like what are you asking? Actually, I'll just um, answer in general that that's private, so I don't really feel like talking about that. But anyway, okay, so I need to open the directory for source. Yeah, that's like I said, I'm just gonna preempt that and say that that's private. So I'm not gonna talk about that. Okay, I need to open. Ooh, I could tokenize this. That's an idea. Let's do that. Let's do that. Okay. I always forget how string to works. Let's see. Let's make sure I'm getting this right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. uint max is dependent on the system you're running on. So if you're running a 64-bit system, I'm pretty sure it's 64 bits. If you're running on 32-bit systems, then I think it defaults to 32 bits. Let's see, go to CPP reference. Yeah, okay, so uint or int max and I guess uint max by transitive property are maximum with integer types. So let's see, does it specify? Yeah, it's not clear if that's something that can be greater, like feasibly be greater than 64 bits. I've only really heard of it being 64 bits just because 128-bit CPUs are not very common, and I don't even know if they actually make them. But I'm pretty sure it's the system architecture. Yeah, it's typically going to be at least 32. Obviously, 32-bit architecture is less common now, um, but it still exists. So there are situations where it would potentially actually be 32 bits. I don't know if I think they're a thing yet. Yeah, so according to Wikipedia, at least as of July this year, there are no mainstream general purpose processors that use 128 bits, which the whole impetus behind 64-bit was people were hitting the limitations of 8 gigs of RAM, or not 8, sorry, not 8 gigs, 4 gigs of RAM. And so because the addressing was um, it wasn't strictly limited there. Like you can expand the address register and not have to expand the addition, but there were other concerns there, and so they it became more popular to have 64-bit registers, and that means that your integers are going to be expanded, or at least the maximum integer size is expanded. I know that on architectures where, for example, let's say you're on a 32-bit architecture, I know that I think it's GCC will actually emulate 64-bit integers, um, but um, it's slower because they have to do it in software and as opposed to in hardware, which obviously is faster. Well, and there are legitimate cases where you need to have math that large, but it's not frequent in consumer processing. That sounds like it would be more of an issue for like financial institutions or people who are doing calculations for oh gosh, what's it called? Like for scientific purposes. And there are extended width registers on most standard CPUs. They're just not necessarily used for that, generally speaking. They're if you ever heard of AVX, like AVX 512 or anything like that, um, that's a reference to registers that are designed to deal particularly with vector math. So you'll have a register that contains essentially like four 32-bit floats, um, and that's generally used for vector processing, like processing like four floats in uh, a single instruction. They're known as uh, was it SIMD, single instruction multiple data. Um, yeah, and you can use those in C and C++, but you have to specifically try and use them. Okay, I need to get back to this. So this is the. Hold on. Let's do. You know what? Hold on. I'm sick of this. Space system. Tired of typing that entire thing out. It's pissing me off. Okay. I need. Shouldn't have done that. Hold on. It's gonna be path, and that's going to go here. There. Okay. So this first token can be ignored because actually that's just going to be the original file name. this needs to go here. Let's get rid of those. Okay. Okay, take null. Okay. Let's do that. Okay. Need to create a path with that, and I need to get rid of this because this doesn't need to be here anymore. Okay. So path using that. Okay, and then to create a entry with that. Last write time. That is greater than. Last write time. Oh, oops. All right. Okay. Okay. So actually, I should go ahead and you know what? I think I might make some changes, but I'm going to do that after because I want to make sure that this actually works. And if it doesn't, then I'm going to have to rewrite a bunch of other stuff. So let's go ahead and I'll add that HTTP file back. And we'll once again put something completely nonsensical there. Up. Since I'm here, I'm just going to go ahead and clean this out. Okay. Not using make. Okay. Because it's not happy about that. Don't want it to look for extension. Does extension return it with the period? Hold on. It does. Okay. So I need to make sure to compare against. Okay. I suppose I could also check it against .cc, but I never use .cc. I always use CPP. Okay. Wait, what? Hmm? Uh, Wait, what? Um, okay, so what's going on? Oh, jeez. Hold on, hold on. Oh, wait a minute. I know why. I know what's going on. Okay. Um. Right. Okay. So let's gonna get rid of this because it doesn't need to restrict that. Okay. So now so what it should do, let me just go ahead and open it, and I'm going to go to the header because the entire point of what I'm doing right now, to be clear, I am trying to make it so that when I change a header that is included in a particular source file, that it'll actually recompile it. Because that's one of the things that I've personally run into as a bit of a pain. So like if I'm working in a header and I make some modifications, especially for like what they call templates. If I'm working with templates, and I modify one of the template files because those are typically in headers, it will not recompile with the makefile that I have currently. Now I know that there are ways that you get around that. You can include makefile dependencies and things like that, but I wanted to do it with this. So okay, so we'll define. And if I do this, it should try to recompile. Perfect. Okay. Okay. Excuse me. All right. So, all right. Now I need to get to recompile the entire project. And so the way to do that is, I guess we'll define that. Let's call it build project. Okay, so you know, I'm actually going to go up here real quick. I'm tired of redefining that every single time. So now this gets shrunk to that. Much easier. Much, much easier. Okay. Get rid of that. Just fix everything. having to convert it into a directory entry. I don't suppose that is actually possible. Yeah, no, that's okay. All right. Let's get here. All right. So, again, for now, I'm going to hard code this. So the actually, we'll put it. Okay, for now, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to make this a global. I'll make this something that I modify later. Let's just give it the name. Okay, and here. Let's see, I need a directory entry, so in entry. Construct that from strings. Hold on. Constructors. No, okay, you can't do it from strings. You need to use file path. Okay. Yeah, okay. Oops. Okay. Let's see. So if entry exists, refers to an existing file system object. Actually, I should do that. That exists. If entry exists, then check. Auto. All right, so I need this recursive directory iterator. Let's go B. So can I just do actually, okay. So if extension is not equal continue. So we don't want to touch those, or anything that's not an object file. Okay. If entry dot write time is less than object entry, that's write time. Then to rewrite it. Or not rewrite it, recompile it. Now, how do I do that? Okay, do this. So, G++. And like I said before, I'm just going to go ahead and hard code this. So, it's 3. I'm just going to go ahead and copy this stuff here. Shorten this. I don't need to produce dependency files, I don't think. It could be helpful, I suppose. I mean, it's at least worth trying. I don't think it works that way, but, you know, it might. You never know. Okay. Let's get rid of these. Let's not need that. It's gonna go there anyway. Okay. Now, continue. So here the command plus equals plus entry dot path. That's it's not happy with that. Why is it not happy with that? Not comment, command. Okay. False. Say it is false. Okay. So let's compile is true. Else. Okay. The end. Compile. Okay. Turn system. There we go. Just there we go. Okay. Hold on, actually. I need to this real quick. I don't need to check any of those because I've already decided to recompile. And for each of those, I need to So before I go any further, this needs to first check run, I should say, not check. Run compile objects. Okay, I'm not modifying result, and so I probably should at some point, but leave that alone for now. Okay, let's go ahead and put in a little project. Let's see what we get. Okay. Okay, it should not be triggering a recompile. So somewhere along the line, something's wrong. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Part of the reason why, at least. Appears to indeed be possible. Okay, something's getting caught in an infinite loop, and this is a problem. Or not infinite recursion, not infinite loop, but same difference. Okay, so it's not. Okay, so it's going through here. Checking. Actually, we'll do this instead. We'll see. Let's just make sure. Well, okay. It definitely should exist. Like, I don't think that's really in question at all, because otherwise it wouldn't be in the listing. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this as a in reverse. So here we'll do does not equal, if the extension does not equal CPP, then we'll continue that way. This. Go. Okay. Make this slightly easier to read. So it's not hitting either of these, which is fine. So, oh, that's why. Okay, hold on. So this first one should be an object file. Should be the oh gosh, what's it called? Put this in there real quick. Okay. Let's see what we get. Could not get file time, no such file directory. Okay, I think I know what's going on there too. I'm so smart after the fact. Oh, jeez. Okay. This needs to include new line characters. Otherwise, it doesn't know what to do with itself. Nice. Okay, so let's go ahead and open this, and we'll put in a thing to see if it recompiles the project. Well, you know what? It has to be something visible, otherwise this is not going to work. So we'll do print line building project. There. Okay. So now, so it recompiles. Okay. But it's not printing. Why is it not printing? What's going on here? Print all of the commands that are actually being sent, because all the commands are being executed at least. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Don't do that. There. Okay. And here, again. Be there. let's modify main.cpp. We'll just go ahead and add in. Okay, so now it's not, oh, don't want to do that. Now it's not recompiling the project in general. So compile objects. Mm, so if it exists, then oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Hold on. That's probably at least part of it. It's not detecting there are any build files. Or try to compile anything. Okay. Okay, so it should not have defines.o, so that's wrong. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, what was the issue that I was running into here? Actually, I was going to check. There's nothing in there, so that's interesting. It means that that dash m. Mm-hmm. Hold on. What was I? Okay, hold on. So it's giving the whole name. It should not be. Does recursive directory iterator need a full path? Okay, so it does not need a the full path. It operates. It appears it can operate off of a partial one. So let's test that. Okay. Now it's in bin. Okay, so when you don't use the -c flag, it does not the dot or -mmd for producing dependencies doesn't change anything. So get rid of that, and I need to go through here and make some adjustments to some other things as well. So I can go. This can go. This can go here as well. And that means that this no longer needs to be this rather circuitous I'm not sure I understand what that means. I'll be honest. Okay. Okay, so that's, I guess, do path.cstring, I guess. What you just said there. Like, is it just unusual for you to be watching people? Okay, so spam. Okay. Okay. Go way up. Okay. I think I'm not sure, but I think that was an AI. That'd be funny. Okay. All right. Well, actually, let me. Hold on. Oh, shoot. Hold on. Make sure that all these are correct. Okay. Cool. And if I do echo. Um, Rebuilds it. Okay, that I think is enough for now. I'm going to probably continue refining this, but this is a pretty good place where I'm at. It seems to work fairly well. So, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed and found this helpful, and I will see you again probably tomorrow. Have a great day and Merry Christmas.